Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
This active weather week continues with another round of thunderstorms moving through our area, lighting up the radar to the south and east of San Antonio. Let's check right in with meteorologist Adam Caskey for an update. Adam.
And you see there in San Antonio, looking from the south side northward, we actually have a bit of sunshine. We'll have some increasing clouds coming in from thunderstorms that are actually off in the distance. But let's take a look at where we have the tornado watch that's in effect. And I do want to point out, Kendall County has recently been dropped from this tornado watch. This means conditions are favorable for the development of a quick spin up if we get the right severe thunderstorm popping up. And we've had some severe thunderstorms so far. We did have one Doppler radar indicated spin in rotation just about 8 miles northeast of Hallettsville, and there were reports of barn damage there and some tree damage. Right now, the severe activity is in LaSalle County and southern Frio County, just clipping southwestern Atascosa County. This is a heavy rainfall, potentially some hail that's about 1 inch in diameter, so about the size of a quarter, and you can't rule out a wind gust up to 60 miles per hour with that. It's barely moving. It's just now slowly turning southward. Bit of an erratic movement with that. You look elsewhere, a lot of lightning and thunder, but no ongoing severe thunderstorms for other portions of our area. We had some severe weather. Now it's mainly just heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning and thunder, but we also have flash flood warnings in effect. Luling, just about toward Gonzales. This is Guadalupe-Gonzales County line flash flood warning because of the heavy rainfall that has fallen there. So that's what we have right now. This is the way it stands on the radar screen. We'll have this scattered activity as we go into the evening hours, but the real severe weather threat is through about 9 p.m. We're going to take a look at the rainfall totals, not just from today, but even the past 5 days. Coming up, Steve.
Thank you, Adam. Governor Greg Abbott becoming the latest Republican governor yesterday, opting out of federal pandemic-related unemployment help.
By cutting off the $300 weekly unemployment supplement starting on June 26th, Abbott hopes to spur more people back into the workforce.
Our Garrett Berger talks with some people who are currently unemployed to get their reactions.
Carl McKinney lost his job laying water pipes last March, and the extra unemployment from the feds has helped out.
It's been helpful, you know what I mean? Put money in my pocket, you know what I'm saying? Pay little bills every now and then.
He says he's been wanting to get back on his feet, and the news that his unemployment help is about to drop by $300 a week was more motivation. Now he's looking into getting training, hoping for a better job.
Like a skilled job, like welding or electrician or something.
Governor Greg Abbott said close to 45% of posted jobs in Texas pay more than $15.50 an hour. And the head of Workforce Solutions Alamo said they've seen employers offer higher wages or bonuses to attract workers. But it may not just be a consideration of pay that might keep someone out of the job market.
So if you go back to work and you can't have, or a barrier for employment is childcare or lack of childcare, that's a real decision that people are making.
John Anthony Martinez has been unemployed since last month, though he says he hasn't seen any of the extra federal unemployment help yet and has already been looking for new jobs himself. He doesn't like Abbott's maneuver of removing that extra help.
I don't think it would be an incentive to want to work if you were to take that away. I think it's just more of a slap in the face.
Workforce Solutions Alamo will be hosting a vaccination clinic here at their Data Point location next Monday. So when you do find a job, you'll feel safe going back. I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
At New at 6, it looks as if it will be at least another month before the border is reopened to non-essential travel. Congressman Henry Cuellar got the word today from Mexico's foreign secretary. It came during a news conference that Cuellar held about reopening the border as soon as possible. Even the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber voiced its support, along with many groups, in a letter to the Homeland Security Secretary. Jessica Delgado has more about the ongoing push to restore normal travel across the border.
Bridge 1 in Laredo is among the ports of entry that still allow lawful permanent residents, mostly students and workers, to come and go. But otherwise, it remains closed to visa holders who are considered non-essential travelers. Yet border communities like Laredo had hoped traffic would resume this month now that vaccinations are up and COVID cases are down in the U.S. After talking about how the ports of entry were still closed to non-essential travel, Congressman Henry Cuellar says the nation's leading expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, asked, what's the problem?
And that's my question. What's the problem?
That wasn't the only question Cuellar says he's asked Secretary of Homeland Security Alexander Mayorkas.
But why are the Mexicans a health issue the ones that cross by land, not by plane. They have no answer. It is very perplexing.
As it is now, only those Mexican nationals who can afford it are allowed to fly into the U.S.
We should not just be making sure that those that can afford to fly and visit us are able to, while we close the borders to those that drive and walk.
Mexico's foreign secretary did tweet Tuesday that the U.S. has informed them restrictions will remain in place until June 21st. Another tweet says lifting them will depend on the number of cases and vaccinations on both sides of the border. Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
A plea from local hospitals this evening. Please keep your masks on at hospitals, even if you're vaccinated. The CDC recently relaxing mask guidelines in many places, but that does not include hospitals. There are many reasons for that. One being there are many immunocompromised people at hospitals whose medical conditions prevent them from being vaccinated. That's why front lobby screeners at local hospital systems, including at Methodist, are trained to react to those who enter without a mask on.
There are several situations that our screeners have encountered. I think what's important is that we have talking points for our screeners so that they understand how to articulate why our requirements are what they are.
Screeners keep disposable masks nearby so they can offer one to visitors who need them. If the visitor or patient is still reluctant, they explain why masks are required and let them know they can now visit patients virtually.
No more mask mandates. That's the executive order from Governor Greg Abbott, which will prohibit government entities from requiring masks. That includes counties, cities, school districts, public health officials, and government schools. School districts can keep their current mask policy through June 4th. After that, no one can be required to wear a mask on campus. Starting this Friday, local governments or officials who try to impose any kind of mask mandate could get slapped with a $1,000 fine. Governor Abbott says Texans, not the government, should decide their best health practices. Businesses can still require employees and customers to wear masks, though.
It can be used to transport vaccines, plus highly contagious or critically injured patients. The San Antonio-based company Knight Aerospace has created a medical container that can do all those things. We first told you about this project last year, and now the company has delivered its very first unit to the Royal Canadian Air Force to help transport vaccines and run other missions. Tiffany Huertas has a look at that medical unit that could help save lives.
It maintains negative pressure the entire time while it's on the aircraft, so that means that no germs can escape.
A team of medical experts and engineers at Knight Aerospace helped design this medical container.
When COVID hit a year ago, or a little over a year ago, we immediately pivoted over to biocontainment.
This unit can be placed inside a cargo aircraft. Bianca Rhodes, president and CEO of Knight Aerospace, says it's designed to keep the aircrew safe.
If you have anybody that's contaminated or contagious, we want to protect the aircraft and we want to protect the air crew so that they don't have to worry about decontaminating the aircraft when it lands. They can just roll this thing off and it's ready to go on a new mission.
Knight Aerospace designed a unit for the Royal Canadian Air Force. The department posted this video on Facebook. Rhodes says they have been using it to transport vaccines all over the world and for different missions.
They ran a mission down to the African continent and back with some Canadians that they had to repatriate. Some of them were severely compromised with COVID, and some of them were more ambulatory. And this platform gave them the ability to accommodate all of those patients.
The team at Knight Aerospace is working with different nations. These units can be customized depending on the country's situation.
We're working on another medical module design right now, and it's for one of our Middle Eastern customers.
With COVID still impacting countries across the world, Rhodes believes this could help.
I think part of the frustration with COVID has been the helplessness that everybody feels like there's so little that you can do. And this gives us, a sense of purpose and a sense of accomplishment, saying that whatever we could do, we are doing.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
A new episode of KSAT Explains debuts right after this newscast at 7 o'clock tonight. And this week we are focusing on Fiesta, explaining the why behind the most popular Fiesta traditions. And one of the biggest Fiesta signatures, undoubtedly, all those medals. Monarch Trophy Studio, known as one of the biggest Fiesta medal producers, every year they work with organizations across San Antonio to come up with those unique and colorful designs. The whole process takes between 4 and 6 weeks. And even though Fiesta medals have been distributed, collected, and traded for the past half a century, they're still getting more popular.
I think the fact that it's become such a fundraising type of tool is why it's become so popular. It's a cool way to, give back to different companies and organizations, and then them provide you with something that's cool and unique for exchange for doing that.
And of course, Fiesta is happening this year, so we're all excited about that. You can learn more about the origins of Fiesta medals and a whole lot of other Fiesta traditions this week on KSAT Explains. Our Fiesta episode debuts in a live stream on KSAT.com at 7 o'clock tonight, also on the KSAT TV app and the KSAT 12 Facebook page. We'll then post the full episode after that, so you can watch it anytime on demand.
Time saver traffic right now. Let's go to the TransGuide camera at Loop 410 and Broadway. If you look off in the distance there, you can see a car that appears to be broken down right next to, some emergency vehicles that are also out there. It's 410 and Broadway, not causing a major traffic backup, but certainly something to be aware of. And weather continues to be something we certainly need to be aware of. It's the big story. This afternoon and evening, it is rain overnight. It was strong winds. A couple from Corpus Christi recovering from this wild ride the winds caused in southeast Bexar County. Gusting winds picked up and knocked over their RV while they were inside. As Katrina Weber reports, the winds also caused other damage throughout the area.
Debris in trees, on power lines, and parking lots are signs of an unwelcome guest at the Days Inn and Suites. Strong winds barreled through overnight, tearing the roof off the building near Interstate 37 and Donop Road and rattling nerves.
It just sounded like a bunch of cars wrecking and right here. And I was like, wow, we're a little far away from the highway for it to be that close.
Carl Benoit hunkered down in his room when this happened after 12:30 this morning, but sleep was out of the question.
It was pretty wild. I've lived in Texas all my life and I ain't never seen nothing like that.
It was also a first for a couple at the Browning Lake RV resort next door.
The trailer went up in the air while they were asleep, and then it flipped over to the other slot.
Annalisa Montalvo came by later to help her husband's aunt and uncle get things back on track. That included taking care of the RV as well as the couple who suffered injuries.
The aunt is getting a CT scan, and her husband he just got a gash to the nose, but he's all right.
I spoke to the man here briefly off camera as he headed back to the hospital. He says this came out of nowhere. He says he thought the storm was over, things were quiet, and then all of a sudden, nature struck. Fortunately, he later told me they both should bounce back, that he and his wife are okay. Back at the motel, the storm has Carl Benoit's plans up in the air.
I guess try to find out if we're going to be able to stay here or they're going to move us somewhere else. That's my main worry right now.
Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
And after the last couple of weeks, these storms we've seen, it's understandable for all of us to be just a little bit on alert.
Absolutely.
Given what's out there right now, Adam.
Yeah, a lot of instability in our atmosphere. It's that springtime instability, and then you get those storms to pop in. A lot can happen, but we had a unique heat burst that happened last night with the thunderstorm that was south of town, and that rushed that wind into southern Bexar County. So there wasn't even any rain or anything associated with that. Today, topped out at 84. At the airport, we had about 0.2 of an inch of rain, but much higher accumulations elsewhere, especially where we've been seeing the heaviest showers and thunderstorms. A lot of lightning out there, especially around Gonzales and pushing into DeWitt County as well. Heavy rainfall right now, nothing severe locally. We have to head far south of town. We'll look at that, look at how much rain has fallen coming right up. But really quickly, our storm chances start to fade off later tonight, becoming more isolated in nature after 9 o'clock, and our severe weather threat is through about 9 p.m. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Sky 12 flying around downtown San Antonio. We got storms in our area, but Adam, I'm guessing it depends on which direction we're looking right now. The view could change.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's true. It's different everywhere. You go closer to the Rio Grande, nothing throughout the day. Temperatures were well into the 80s. And then you're here in San Antonio. You had some heavy downpours periodically and then some severe weather as well in some parts of South Texas. But that's the nature of our weather setup and our weather pattern. It's not going to be raining everywhere all the time. It's not going to be a big storm everywhere, but we're expecting them to pop and develop periodically in the coming days as well. So let's get right to it, starting with our KSAT Weather Authority app. On the lower right-hand side, you can touch the pins icon and you can post your photos. This is from a GoPro camera mounted on the pickup truck from Nick Menger. And then, hold on, there we go. This is a nice look at what is coming on the backside of the storm. Hold on, come on, go to the next one. Okay, there we go. That was good. About almost 2 inches of rain. That was near Timberwood Park, and look at that rainbow. How nice is that? So some nice views on the backside of this activity, and obviously for some folks wasn't quite as good because of some flash flooding and little bit of damage. Even in Lavaca County, they had some barn damage as a result of a potential tornado and some higher winds. Here's a look at the radar now. North central LaSalle County severe thunderstorm warning. That's still in effect for folks down there until 6:30 p.m. And then what we have ongoing elsewhere within our viewing area are flash flood warnings that are in effect. So within these green boxes, those indicate flash flood warnings. Now, just south of LaGrange, we do have a tornado warning near Schulenburg. So if you live anywhere in or near Schulenburg, we've got rotation on the Doppler radar indicated by the radar, not actually visually confirmed yet, but indicated by the radar. So Schulenburg, seek shelter immediately, interior room, away from windows. We can get these little spin-ups periodically with the type of atmosphere and the instability that we have. And so that's why we've been getting a few of those tornado warnings periodically. But right now we're looking at some very heavy rainfall and non-severe weather that's ongoing. Gonzales County, down into DeWitt County, even Wilson and Karnes counties. This is good soaking rain. Not good for travel out there this evening, but good soaking heavy rainfall, good dent in the drought. And in some cases, after what we've seen, could even be some drought busting rain. But you look at the rainfall rates here, and especially the purples stand out the most, particularly in and around Gonzales County, just west of Shiner. And where you see those purple colors, look at that, about 5 to 6 inches per hour are the rainfall rates. But let's look at the rainfall over the past 24 hours. So that includes everything today and everything that we had last night as well. And this is where we've had the heaviest rain, is right there, south of Luling, just south of Seguin. Those red areas, yellow and red, showing more than 4 inches of rain has fallen, according to the Doppler radar. Elsewhere, Bernie to Mico, about the same. Northern portion of San Antonio and Stone Oak, we've seen about 1 to 2 inches. But look at the last 5 days. I just have to show you this. Check this out. Look at this. Last 5 days, this is drought denting, folks. And on Thursday, we will be getting the newest drought monitor. So let's talk about the overall weather pattern. Big upper level low churning off to the north, basically in New Mexico. That's where it's centered. So we've got good lift from it and also instability. This is going to hang around for a couple of days and actually drop southward into northern Mexico as we get into the weekend. So rain chances, they'll be up and down. But tomorrow we've got it at 60%, especially for the first part of the day. And then see some scattered activity on Friday, then again into the weekend up to 60%. Temperatures, depends on your conditions. Have you had rain? If so, New Braunfels 65, San Antonio 73, meanwhile 84 in Carrizo Springs and along the Rio Grande in the 80s. Storm chances drop off later tonight, especially after 9 o'clock. Our severe threat is through about 9. And then the first part of the day tomorrow, we're expecting a thunderstorm complex to develop somewhere in South Texas. Exactly where is yet to be determined, but where it does develop, some heavy rain, which could be affecting your morning commute, will be in the 70s during the day tomorrow. And this weekend, we could see some more heavy downpours as well, periodically.
Not done yet. Thanks, Adam.
All right, pretty simple for the Spurs when it comes to their next few games. You got to win the play-in to stay in.
That's true, and not once, but twice. So how does that affect younger players who are not that playoff savvy to begin with? When we come back, we'll ask the Spurs about that. And also a new basketball coach for Judson High School. You'll meet her coming up. The Spurs are 4-point underdogs when they face the Grizzlies in Memphis tomorrow night in their first ever play-in game to try and make the playoffs. The Spurs finish at 10 after losing back-to-back games to the Phoenix Suns, while the Grizzlies lost their last regular season game to the Golden State Warriors and now sit at number 9 in the conference. Following a short workout here in San Antonio, Spurs hopped their charter to Memphis, where they touched down shortly before 5. Now they must win tomorrow night or their season is over. So how did the Spurs handle that kind of a thing and a demand with so many young players on the team that have never been to the playoffs, much less face a one-and-done challenge?
Just go out. It's important from pregame all the way. It's a different approach. Regular season, there's 82, but this year was 72 games, so you could look forward to the next one. With this game, you can't look forward to nothing after this.
We haven't truly, I think, as a team really talked, or the vets really talked about it. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna talk to us, closer and closer to the game about how important it is. The importance of just taking care of the ball, playing defense, the little things, because they've been there and done that. So, but we're getting there.
Like the Spurs, the Grizzlies are in the middle of a rebuild, so much so young players such as Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. have never been in the playoffs. Jackson, the son of the former Spur who won a ring in San Antonio, has missed most of the season after tearing the meniscus in his left knee during the play-in bubble, but now he's back. Jonas Valanciunas missed the 2 games the Grizzlies won in San Antonio back in February, 129-112 and 133-102 due to health and safety protocols, and his only game against the Spurs this season was a season-opening loss to the Silver and Black, 131-119. Does his winner-go-home game against the Spurs serve as extra motivation for Jonas?
I don't look for extra motivation. I'm motivated enough. It doesn't matter. I missed first 2. I played first 2. I have my motivation, and I think all Grizzlies team has a motivation to play because we're playing for something. So I don't think we need to look for motivation here.
Now you take a look at the matchups here. The winner of the Spurs and the Grizzlies will next play the loser of the Lakers and the Warriors to see who makes the playoffs. Former Spurs player, coaching intern, front office executive Monty Williams has been voted as the National Basketball Association Coaches Association Coach of the Year. All 30 coaches in the NBA vote on the Michael H. Goldberg Award, named after the former executive director of the NBCA, which honors a coach who helps guide his players to a higher level of performance. Monty has certainly done that after inheriting a team that went 19-63 just 2 years ago. He finished with the second worst record that year in the league. This year, he guided the Phoenix Suns to the second in the Western Conference, improving by 17 games this season in the shortened 72-game schedule. Christina Camacho has been named the new head girls basketball coach at Judson High School. She replaces Treva Corrales, who retired from coaching to become the school district's new athletic director after Mike Miller decided to retire. Tina comes to Judson High School from Veterans Memorial, where she led the Patriots to the state finals twice in Class 4A and 5A, and now is able to stay in the district as the new head coach of the Rockets.
I know there's a lot of pressure that's going to be, expected. But I just, I like doing new things that are going to challenge me, and rather than retire and just not do anything, I keep saying I love what I do, and I love this community. I love Judson ISD.
And it looks like we caught her on moving in day today as well, didn't we?
Yeah, she has a few, framed things she needs to move in there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
We'll be right back. From changes happening thanks to progress in this pandemic to negotiations on where we are with the city and the San Antonio Police Union contract. Lots to talk about with San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, who joins us for today's KSAT Q&A. Mayor, thanks for being here. Let's first talk about something COVID related. We heard the governor this week say that he is opting out of the federal unemployment benefits next month. So I wanted to ask you about local COVID-related assistance. Rental assistance has been a big one over the last year. Any update on what's still available or how long that may last when it comes to COVID relief?
Sure, and we know that many families are concerned about the actions of late for the governor to opt the state of Texas out of those federal benefits. But I want to assure folks that the assistance programs that have been a collaboration between the city and the county that had stood up early on in this pandemic continue to operate. And so if folks need help with rent or mortgage, there is an emergency housing assistance program available. That will continue likely through the end of the year. We have funds available for that. and we're continuing to enroll people in that benefit. So call 311 for more information on that. We also have a utility assistance program. You're going to be hearing more about that as we move through the next several months, but that has been continuing to operate throughout the course of this pandemic, and we are still enrolling folks into that program. I do want to mention the Train for Jobs SA program, which has been active since the fall, where we are helping folks who've been laid off, unemployed, underemployed because of the pandemic, and training them for jobs that are available today in our community while they're receiving a stipend to make ends meet. So, again, that kind of help allows a family to, take care of the bills that are coming due. Rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of assistance programs available. There is a single number to call for all the information on that. That's 311, or people can go to covid19.sanantonio.gov. We want to make sure that no one is left behind.
The governor also making an executive order today banning mask mandates, which I kind of thought they'd already done. But does that have any impact on your office at all, or what happens here going forward?
It does hamstring places like schools, school districts, and other agencies from making decisions based on the uniqueness of their population. I will say that we have not had a mask mandate in place for quite some time because the governor, again, rolled back those authorities. But from the very start of this pandemic, San Antonians were doing the right thing to protect themselves, their families, their businesses. And so that continues to be the case, and I'm confident it will continue to be the case moving forward. And that effort right now is focused on vaccinations, which we're doing a good job of as a community, getting as many folks vaccinated as quickly as possible, which will really help put the pandemic behind us. Right now, even including the 12 plus year olds, we're almost at 60% of folks in our community that are eligible have received at least one dose of the vaccine. We've had over 1 million doses, almost 1 million people who have been vaccinated with at least one dose. We're almost about 50% of people who have been fully vaccinated. That includes, the 12-year-olds that have just started to be vaccinated last week. So we're moving in the right direction. The hospital numbers continue to go down, and that's attributably solely to the fact that San Antonians, once again, are pulling together to help each other, protect each other, themselves, their families, and of course, the community at large.
You talked about yesterday during the COVID briefing about a change in the hours at the Alamodome vaccination clinic, those hours being rolled back. We know that there are a wide variety of places where people can get a vaccine right now. And you talked about, the effort already, the progress we have made. A high note in this pandemic, Fiesta, we learned this week, is going to be at 100% capacity, no longer 75% as we had been planning on up to this point. So what kind of decisions were made, or what information was looked at that has made the city comfortable with this widespread event being full steam ahead?
Well, so obviously Fiesta is going to be modified due to a different calendar, and some of the events that are normally part of the April Fiesta calendar are just not going to happen. But those events that do happen, I'm confident, are going to be conducted very well. The Fiesta Commission has been working with our public health department early on, months ago, to establish a set of metrics that would indicate whether or not the transmission of the virus is prevalent, and how many people have been vaccinated, what proportion of the community has been vaccinated. And so they established those metrics early on. We're in good shape as those go. But obviously, we want people to exercise common sense. And while there is no mandate for masks, if you are in close quarters with people for an extended period of time, you should wear a mask. If you have not been vaccinated, you should wear a mask. But it is true now that we are seeing the cessation of this virus significantly, that we're in control of our own destiny. And so we're asking folks to do the right thing. I'm confident it's going to be conducted well. It's going to be a lot of fun. People have been waiting a long time for this. And because we've been doing the right thing as a community, we can cautiously, using common sense, venture out a little bit more, and that includes Fiesta.
I'm going to talk about the police union contract and where it's been. We haven't got an update in a while. Are they back at the negotiating table? Are they making progress? And do you have a timetable when you would like to see a deal done?
I want to see a deal done as soon as it's the right deal. We're not going to rush it. We know what our objectives are, and those are primarily around reform of the accountability measures in the contract, the authorities given to the chief to make the ultimate hiring and firing decisions, transparency of disciplinary records, et cetera. As you know, the negotiations have been going on for a few months now. There has been some progress made, and there's been some issues that have been sticking points, but we're looking for the right deal, one that achieves the objectives that the City Council and the public have laid out for many months, if not years. The negotiations are ongoing. There's been a little bit of a pause over the last month or so, but the two parties, the city negotiating team and the police union negotiating team, are committed to continuing good faith negotiations. I will tell you that these aren't done overnight, and they aren't done behind closed doors. It's a very public process, and it's a lengthy negotiation. So it will not be done before the elections are over. I can tell you that. I know there's been some concern that the council or the union or the negotiating teams might rush through the next step of the process, but that won't be the case. We're going to continue to try to hammer out an agreement, one that meets the objectives of our negotiating team. And as I've said before, anything that falls short, I won't support. We've got to be very clear about that. We've got to negotiate these terms that we've been talking about for a long, long time as a community.
Still a work in progress. San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, thanks for being here. Thanks for your time.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too. We'll be right back. News around America, those government stimulus checks giving a big boost to Walmart. The mega retailer reports sales are up 6% from the year before for the quarter ending April 30th. Products and categories including apparel, outdoor living, sporting goods, and beauty supplies all up. The growth rate includes a very strong 37% increase in online sales. Now analysts are watching closely to see if that continues without additional stimulus money pumped into the economy.
Look outside again with live cam this evening. Got some clouds out there. We know there are some storms in our area right now. So Adam, how are these shaping up? Any severe weather out there now?
Yeah, we actually have a new tornado warning that's in northern Lavaca County, which includes Hallettsville. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes to look at that and see where the rest of the showers and thunderstorms are. We'll see you in a minute.
For a lot of us, the severe weather's already moved through, but for some of our viewers, especially in the eastern part of our viewing area, they are getting the rough weather right now. Adam.
Yeah, they are, and I'm keeping an eye on what's coming in. Okay, confirmed tornado near Schulenburg, moving to the north at 20 miles per hour. Okay, so I'm keeping an eye on the situation. I'm going to start us off with the storm relative velocities because we have a few tornado warnings out there for some of our eastern folks that are watching us in the eastern section of our viewing area. We're talking about Lavaca County and even up into Fayette County. In Fayette County, that is a confirmed tornado. And you see a lot of green and red here. What does this all mean? Well, let's get right into this and take a little deep dive here into the rotation that we're seeing. So what we have here near Shiner and not far from Hallettsville is rotation within this thunderstorm. So particularly near Mount Olive neighborhood and Sweet Home and moving to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So this includes folks in Hallettsville. You don't have much activity right now, but the rotation within this is right here. This is right along Highway 90. So Highway 90 in Lavaca County, that's where we have the tornado warning for a Doppler radar indicated tornado. Waiting to get word, possibly even a confirmed visually sighted tornado. But this is moving to the northeast at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So everybody within northern Lavaca County, from Shiner over to Hallettsville, all the way up to the county line, you need to seek shelter immediately, as we could very likely have a tornado drop out of this thunderstorm. We've got strong rotation indicated right here on the Doppler radar. That's the rotation, and that is the potential for a tornado. Then we do have a actually observed tornado right here north of Schulenburg. Even greater intensity in terms of the shear that we have here in this area. What we're seeing right here, that green and red come together just north of Schulenburg, that is an observed tornado. This is headed toward LaGrange and toward Fayetteville. Okay, everybody in that vicinity from Schulenburg to LaGrange to Fayetteville, Good idea, of course, to stay indoors, interior room, away from windows, put as many walls between you and outside as possible. Shiner, Hallettsville, everybody northern Lavaca County within that red flashing polygon you see right there needs to heed that warning. Also, new flash flood warning that just popped up for much of that area. That expires at 10:15 p.m. Now we'll look at what we're most used to seeing on the radar display, and that's this right here, which indicates the rain. We always have to flip over to get those colors to see where we have the rotation, and that's between Shiner and Hallettsville right now, and right along basically Highway 90 and then up into Fayette County as well. You look into San Antonio and other parts of our area, the activity has really simmered down. We could still see a few passing showers here in town into the evening and nighttime hours, but as time goes by, our odds start to really dissipate of much more activity. We also have this remnant thunderstorm, LaSalle County, moving into McMullen County, and of course some other areas of heavy rain. A lot of lightning associated with this. You take a look at this storm, and of course the numerous lightning strikes associated with it will be problematic just in terms of power outages. But the main concern right now is the rotation that we have between Shiner and Hallettsville, and that's the potential for a tornado right now. And we have that tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock because we have the conditions where if you get the right thunderstorm to pop up, it could quickly turn tornadic and give us some rotation. So the primary threat here is the potential for a tornado. And you see the shear. We're switching over to products, and right north of Sweet Home, where you see that red color, that indicates the strongest shear within this thunderstorm, and even another little pocket of it here outside of Shiner. Those are the strongest shears pushing off to the north. So we do have some life-threatening weather out there and likely damaging weather, especially in Lavaca County. Really quickly, this is what we saw in New Braunfels earlier today. This is from Lori Ward. Check that out. And that was a basically rain flooding into the store she was at, along with areas of hail bouncing in as well. So we're going to see more waves and periods of showers and thunderstorms with the potential for some severe storms, but flash flooding is really in the days ahead going to be one of our primary threats. Driving force, upper level low, it's going to basically sit overhead for the next several days. That gives us a 60% chance tomorrow, lull in the action, little break on Thursday, Friday up to 40%, then 60% into the upcoming weekend. Temperatures all over the place, some 60s, some 80s out there. Storm chances drop off later tonight, especially after 9 p.m. And then tomorrow, for the first half of the day, we're expecting a thunderstorm complex to develop and hit some part of South Texas. Sorry, it's impossible to say exactly where right now, but where it's likely to develop, and where it does, we'll have some heavy rain for the first part of the day tomorrow. So keep that in mind, as it really could be affecting your morning commute. High temperatures right around 80 for the foreseeable future here. And this weekend, some heavy downpours at times.
All right. Know you're going to continue to follow those storms out there. So let us know if we need to break in.
Thanks, Adam. In case you missed it, coming up next. Here's today's In Case You Missed It.
And good morning to you. It's Tuesday. It is May 18th.
Toppled trees, torn up sheds, carports, a plane at Stinson Airport knocked off its moorings. One person's RV even flipped over. You can take a look at the images and share your own right now at KSAT.com.
Grecia Villa says her neighbor heard shots fired this morning. Villa lives near the 8900 block of Data Point Drive, where San Antonio police officers were called for a shooting around 9:30 a.m. Police say they did not find any shooting victims. Instead, they discovered a man was fatally struck by a car.
Another major announcement coming from the governor's office today. Governor Greg Abbott issuing a new executive order that prohibits governmental entities from requiring mask wearing. That means local governments or officials cannot require anyone to wear a face covering.
What we want to do is make sure we follow the public health guidance, and what we have been doing and what their guidance has been for the last couple of months is to make sure we get as many people vaccinated as quickly as possible.
Governor Abbott's executive order also changes rules for Texas public schools. Starting June 5th, students, teachers, parents, staff members, and visitors will no longer be required to wear face coverings.
Growing calls for a ceasefire and a mounting civilian death toll, but no end in sight to the violence in the Middle East. Israeli fighter jets continue to pummel Gaza City, crippling its infrastructure. Officials say at least 213 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since the fighting began last week.
Currently, the activity is all far east of San Antonio. And you look at our storm chances in the days ahead. Of course, it's going to be cyclical. There will be periods of higher chances, such as tomorrow and the weekend, and periods of slightly lower chances. But looking at the radar now, most of the activities east and southeast of town. The focus is Lavaca County and Fayette County. We actually have a confirmed tornado on the ground just south of LaGrange, and that's moving northward toward LaGrange at about 20 miles per hour, and then a Doppler radar indicated tornado basically between Shiner and Hallettsville at this time. So anybody in that area, northern Lavaca County, and especially up into Fayette County, this includes Hallettsville, you need to seek shelter immediately, stay inside, and get into an interior room away from as many windows as possible. That tornado warning expires at 7:30 p.m. We're going to keep an eye on it, and I'm going to be live on our KSAT Weather Authority app coming up shortly.
We'll see you tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
Stay safe.